Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you train, it's never good enough? Like every mistake, every off day, every race that doesn't go perfectly chips away at your confidence. Our culture wrongly celebrates perfectionism, and it can be a double-edged sword, driving you to be better, but also making you feel like you're never enough. In this video, I'm going to break down how perfectionism can silently sabotage your performance, and more importantly, how to rewire your mindset so you can train and race more with confidence, resilience, and consistency. By the end, you'll know how to turn perfectionism from a roadblock into a tool that actually helps you perform at your best. As a performance psychologist working with trail and ultra runners, I've worked with athletes just like you, runners who push their limits but get caught up in self-doubt, burnout, or fear of failure. Through years of experience, research, and coaching, I've seen what works, and I'm here to help you break free from the perfectionist trap, so you can enjoy the sport while still performing at your peak. If you want to dive deeper on this topic, check out my free 8-week mindset course for runners, link below in the description. Let's talk about Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in history. She's been open about the mental and emotional toll of perfectionism. In the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, Biles shocked the world by withdrawing from multiple events, citing mental health struggles and experiencing the twisties, a term describing a mental block for gymnasts, in where they lose spatial awareness, which is obviously a terrifying and very dangerous for a gymnast. She later revealed that she had placed unrealistic expectations on herself to perform perfectly, feeling as if she had to be flawless for her country, fans, and sponsors. The pressure became overwhelming, leading to mental blocks that made it unsafe for her to compete. She ticks two of the boxes regarding the 3 types of perfectionism that Thomas Curran discusses in his excellent book, The Perfection Trap. Definitely worth a read if you're someone that struggles with perfectionism. In interviews, Simone Biles admitted that perfectionism had drained the joy from her sport, turning what she once loved into a source of extreme stress and anxiety. You can see in her comeback in the Netflix documentary that she did, how reframing how she approached her sport and finding joy in her training again were big factors in her recovery. I don't know about you, but can you relate to Simone's story where we create barriers and roadblocks for ourselves? We tie things in knots, confuse things, and get things all twisted up. And that's part of perfectionism. One lesson here is that perfectionism isn't just about performance, it can crush mental well-being. And a happy athlete is a high-performing athlete. For endurance athletes, this is a reminder that pushing through at all costs isn't always the answer. Sometimes stepping back, reassessing expectations, and prioritizing mental health is the key to long-term success in our sport. For ultra runners, this means learning to run with joy, adaptability, and self-compassion, not just pressure and self-criticism. One hurdle in overcoming perfectionism is making sure we clearly address the myth of perfectionism. Many runners and high achievers in general believe that perfectionism is a good thing. They see it as a badge of honor, a sign of dedication, discipline, and an unrelenting drive for excellence. But this is one of the biggest mental traps in sports and life. It's a classic job interview question. What is your biggest weakness? Oh, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, we reply, as if that is somehow a good thing. So stop saying that. It's not a good thing. The truth, perfectionism isn't the key to success. It's often the thing that's holding us back. Perfectionism makes me better. The truth, perfectionists may work hard, but they often work inefficiently. They spend too much time overanalyzing mistakes, obsessing over details, and never feeling ready to perform. This leads to paralysis, burnout, and fear of failure. Perfectionism means I have high standards. The truth, high standards are great, but perfectionists don't just set high standards. They make those standards unrealistic and unforgiving. They believe that anything short of perfect is failure, which creates anxiety and self-doubt instead of confidence and growth. Perfectionism is the same as being driven. The truth? Being driven is about progress, learning from failures, adapting, and consistently showing up. Perfectionism, on the other hand, is about fear. Fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, and fear of being enough. Drive moves you forward, perfectionism holds you back. I succeed because I'm a perfectionist. The truth? If you're successful, it's despite your perfectionism, not because of it. Think about it. How much time and energy have you wasted beating yourself up over small mistakes, overtraining to exhaustion, or avoiding races because you weren't 100% ready? That's perfectionism costing you opportunities. What's a healthy alternative? is to shift your mindset to striving for excellence, not perfection. The best endurance athletes aren't perfectionists. They're resilient. They focus on growth, consistency, and self-compassion rather than unrealistic, rigid standards. Excellence is about progress. Perfectionism is about impossible expectations. Excellence is flexible. Perfectionism is rigid, but often breaks under pressure. Excellence builds confidence. Perfectionism creates anxiety. The best runners don't wait for perfect conditions to train, they don't fear bad races, and they don't let a single mistake define them. They just keep showing up, learning and improving. If you've been holding on to perfectionism because you think it gives you an edge, ask yourself this: is it actually helping you perform better, or is it just making you more stressed, anxious, and self-critical? Understanding, like really deeply understanding, the negative consequences of perfectionism is the first step to addressing this very common issue. Second step can be knowing where it comes from and why it might have developed. Perfectionism stems from a mix of biological, psychological, and social influences, and here's how it can develop. Humans evolved to seek approval and avoid failure because historically, social acceptance was the key to survival. The fear of mistakes and rejection runs deep. Some people naturally lean toward high conscientiousness, making them detail-orientated, disciplined, and prone to setting extreme standards. Parental expectations and criticism. If love or approval felt conditional on achievement, like grades, sporting accomplishments, or perfect behaviour, you may have learned that being perfect is the only way to be accepted. Overpraise for achievement, always being celebrated as the best, can create pressure to maintain that status. Early fear of failure. If mistakes were punished or shamed, you might have developed an intense need to avoid failure at all costs. Modern achievement culture socially glorifies hustle, success, and perfection, evaluating self-worth with productivity. Social media fuels this by showcasing only highlight reels. Constant comparison. Research, including in Thomas Curran's book, This Fun and Game, shows rising pressure to meet unrealistic standards due to endless social and professional comparisons. Past generations only had their small, real-life communities to compare themselves to. Now we compare ourselves against millions of different people on the other side of the world, and that creates a distortion in what is acceptable. Competitive sports culture. Endurance sports, especially ultra running, attract high achievers. The drive to push harder can morph into unhealthy perfectionism, and this in some ways is problematically celebrated and thus reinforced. Fear of not being good enough. Perfectionists often tie self-worth to achievement, seeing failure as a reflection of who they are. Black and white thinking, seeing things in extremes. Success versus failure. It makes it hard to accept imperfection. The grey. Need for control. Some perfectionists believe that controlling every detail will protect them from failure, but this leads to stress and anxiety. The bottom line, perfectionism isn't something you're born with. It's learned through experiences, culture, and personality. The good news, it can be unlearned. For trail and ultra runners, recognizing where perfectionism comes from can help you break free from its shackles and run with confidence, joy, and long-term success. Perfectionism is that double-edged sword, particularly in ultra running. While high standards can drive athletes to perform, an obsession with flawlessness often leads to burnout, self-doubt, and a loss of enjoyment. Here's how perfectionism affects ultra runners and how to break free from its grip. The perfectionist mindset in ultra running. Ultra runners often set extreme expectations for themselves, being specific mileage, executing flawless races, or maintaining a rigid grind mentality. And this aligns with the 3 types of perfectionism, also discussed in this book that I mentioned earlier. So we've got self-orientated perfectionism, and this is if I don't hit my goal time, I've failed. Socially prescribed perfectionism is everyone expects me to be a top performer, and that adds pressure onto us. So that can be around your, even in your small running groups and stuff, they can feel this perceived perfection, perceived pressure to perform if you're high in perfectionism. We've got other orientated perfectionism. My crew and paces need to be perfect or my race is ruined. And obviously if you have an element of that perfectionism in your makeup, then it's not going to make for a very harmonious team culture. The problem is ultra running is unpredictable. It's the weather, terrain, nutrition, and mindset all fluctuate. Perfectionism makes athletes rigid and unable to adapt when things don't go to plan. So how perfectionism harms performance? It increases anxiety and self-doubt. Runners fixate on mistakes rather than learning from them. It leads to burnout. The constant pressure to do more, train harder, and never rest can backfire. We also become too obsessed with a singular outcome and forget to enjoy the little things along the way. It kills joy in the sport. When every run is about meeting a standard, running becomes a chore instead of a passion. We forget the play aspect. It hinders race day resilience. Perfectionists struggle to recover mentally when things go wrong mid-race. So how do we break free? A healthier mindset for ultra runners involves shifting from perfectionism to a more sustainable, growth-focused mindset. So embrace imperfection. Every ultra has low moments. Instead of fearing mistakes, expect them and practice adapting. This incorporates being flexible and is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Courtney Dauwalter is, and one of her strongest assets, is her ability to adapt and change with the circumstances. We want to run for intrinsic motivation. Instead of obsessing over race results or outcomes, reconnect with why you love trail running. The adventure, the freedom, the challenge. Lessen the importance of external accolades and reconnect with your personal intrinsic motivators. Be self-compassionate. If you wouldn't berate a friend for a tough race, don't do it to yourself. Learn and then move on. Redefine success. Instead of rigid goals, for example, I must run sub 24 hours, create flexible ones. I'll finish strong and problem solve when needed. Limit social comparisons. Social media can distort reality. No one posts about their bad training days, so focus on your own journey. And here's the final takeaway. Perfectionism doesn't make you a stronger ultra runner, it makes you more fragile. Success in long distance running comes from resilience, adaptability, and self-compassion. By letting go of the perfection trap, you'll not only improve your performance, but also rediscover the joy of running. Perfectionism is a deep and difficult mentality to shift. It takes awareness and recognition of its consequences on a daily basis. So be patient and be kind to yourself in that process. If you're ready to break free from the grip of perfection and unlock your full potential as a trail ultra runner, it's time to stop letting fear and self-doubt hold you back from reaching your true potential. If you're tired of struggling with mental roadblocks and want to approach your training racing with confidence, joy, and focus, then I invite you to join my free 8-week mindset course for runners. In this course, you'll learn practical tools and strategies to master emotional regulation for calm and clarity on race day, build unshakable mental toughness that fuels long-term success, overcome perfectionism and embrace the process of growth, not just results, and enhance your motivation to push through tough moments without burning out. So don't let perfectionism define your running journey. Click the link below to sign up for free and start transforming the way you think, feel, and perform as a runner. Let's make your next race your best one yet. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to the channel, and look forward to seeing you out in the trails.